Alright, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Ruchakudash. Welcome. Let's start off to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Plan Has Always Been the Same. I'm joined by the brother Yazara Allah from the Dallas camp.
Shalom.
And pretty much what I want to do is I want to highlight a post, I guess a video post on Instagram, I guess that's what you call them. Pretty much it was sent to me. I'm not sure exactly who. I don't know if it was the bishops or one of the brothers sent it to me. I forget who it was, but it has some very heavy information on it, which shows you that the plans that we're seeing come to fruition today, as far as this whole digital system and the MOTB, the micro-CF, or should I say, putting the world into debt slavery, has always been the plan. You know, we've been saying this for the longest, even before any of this technology really started to emerge as we see it today. It's pretty much it's right there at the door. You know, you have all of this, everything that you see online and everything that you see in the world is pretty much setting up or has set up the stage for the world to go digital, and you know, for everything to be tracked online. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this post video from Instagram or IG, and I just want to say fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't own the content of this video. I'm not the creator of this video. I'm not making any money off of this video. This video is just simply used for educational purposes. So I'm going to play it. I'm not going to be able to stop it, but I'm going to play it, let it roll, and then we may play it again a few more times, you know, after that. But listen up.
Just read a quote from Edward Mendell House, and what he had to say in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, president between 1913 and 1921, from the private papers of Woodrow Wilson. Quote, "Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property in a national system designed to keep track of the people, and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security and chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer not being able to work and earn a living. They will be our chattel, and we will hold the security interest over them forever by operation of law merchant under the scheme of secured transactions. Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivering the bills of lading to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent, forever to remain economic slaves through taxation secured by their pledges. They will be stripped of their rights."
All right, so you heard it. Those who would play it again, you know, just bear with me. All right, so as you heard it, you know, she said that the secret meeting that Edward Mandel House, which was the advisor to President Woodrow Wilson, I believe he was the 24th president from 1913 to 1921. He was instrumental in, you know, putting in place and signing into law what you know today as the Federal Reserve System, these dollar bills, paper dollars, so on and so forth that you see in circulation today. And in that meeting, you know, they spoke about an ancient law of pledging. Now, what is pledging? Pledging is when you know, give your pledge, or like, for instance, when you let's just type it in.
Yeah, I was going to do that.
Let's just do that. You know, it's a system. Oh, here we go with the bullshit.
Let me get it for you.
Pledge. Let me just do a definition. It says a solemn promise or undertaking, right? A thing that is given as security, that's the point. I was gonna say, you know, when you take out a loan from a bank, when you take that loan out, they need collateral. Collateral would be the pledge. Like you would have, you know, let's say you take out $100,000, you know, against your home, right? So you would put up either your home or your vehicle or anything that you had that was of value as a collateral in case you default on your payment. Then they had the right to come in and take your home or take whatever it is that you had of value. All right, that's a pledge, and that goes back to the scripture. So it says, a thing that is given as security for the fulfillment of a contract or the payment of a debt and is liable to forfeiture in event of failure. And this is very key here because when you go into the Constitution, the 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist in the United States except for, you know, crime, you know, committed, so on and so forth. And then the 14th Amendment gives them the right, pretty much through the jurisdiction over you, to be subjected to the laws of, you know, of the Constitution, America, so on and so forth. So by you putting your signature on anything in this society, that makes you liable for whatever the details of the contract state. All right. Now it all begins with the birth certificate. All right. And she mentioned, we're going to get some precepts. I just want to kind of get an overall picture. She also mentioned that they would be under the law of merchants. Now, when I heard the law of merchants, I thought about Admiralty Maritime Law, which is the law of the high seas. How the high seas are governed, you know, how, you know, taxing and all that goes on, you know, how to, you know, conduct business on water. And I thought it was the same, but it's not, but it is a precursor or what led to the Admiralty Maritime Law. Because the law of merchants is how to govern everything on land and on sea as far as buying and selling is concerned. I'm going to get that real quick for you. And you know, we'll get rolling.
Gotcha.
We'll get rolling. Right here. The law of merchants is considered a historical precursor to modern commercial law, including some aspects of maritime law. It is not the same as Admiralty Maritime Law, which specifically governs legal issues related to activities on the sea, like shipping, navigation, and maritime contracts, essentially. Essentially, the law of merchants is a broader concept encompassing commercial transactions across land and sea, while Admiralty Maritime Law focuses solely on maritime activities. Right, and this is why when you travel on these highways, it's called traffic.
Yep.
Traffic is not just a bunch of cars, you know, stuck in, you know, and can't move anywhere. Traffic pretty much is a commercial term because the traffic really applies to trucks and anything that's carrying, you know, stuff of value that they're selling from one place to another, so on and so forth. You know, if you have anything, just let me know. I'll let you jump on in.
Okay.
Now, the next point where she said to that law of merchants, you know, will set up for secure transactions. We're going to go back and listen to it. Secure transactions are pretty much the same as blockchain. All right, and today that's what they're promising the people to be secure, you know, in their blockchain. I'm just trying to see if I can pull it up over here. Let me see. Just bear with me. Okay, so blockchain, right? It says each blockchain. How does blockchain work? It says each transaction is recorded in a block of data. Because everything now, back in the days, it used to be on books, on a ledger. You know, today everything is on the computer, and that's where they wanted it because it's easier to control. It says the blocks are linked together in a chain, and that's why it's called blockchain, right? The chain is immutable, meaning it can't be changed according to them, meaning that data cannot be altered without consensus from the network. So it has to be something that has to be agreed upon to change it. The block confirms the exact time and sequence. What is a bill of lading? Well, a bill of lading is, let me just pull it up real quick. It says, or another term for it is BOL, is a legal document that details a shipment of goods. That's the bill of lading. So it's telling you that on this shipment you have 100,000 cartons of so and so, or you know, a bunch, you know, crates of fruits or whatever it may be, the incense or whatever. That's the bill of lading. It's letting you know in detail what's in that shipment. All right, that's a bill of lading. And that bill of lading today, applying to people, would be known as the birth certificate. When you understand the whole concept of the birth certificate, which Elder Apostle Bar goes over that a lot. All right, and that birth certificate is letting you know that this is the bill of goods for this property right here, this baby here, you know, which is pretty much what's the word I'm looking for, is pledged, you know, to the bankers. All right, you got another person, so to speak, that you can use, you know, for your transactions or whatever the case may be. All right, then leave this bill of lading, which is the birth certificate, and then anything else that you sign, like your driver's license, social security card, that makes you liable for anything within the contract, you know, of this corporation known as America. That will lead people to be what? In debt, which leads to the next word you use, which is insolvent. Now, insolvent means that you can't get out of debt, and that's where they want you. All right, they want you there because if you can be an insolvent person, that means you're always going to be in debt, which means debt usually leads to enslavement, loss of rights and enslavement. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play this again. All right, let me just I meant to pull up something else, but I wasn't able to. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's see. Oh, this is beautiful. She also mentioned secure transactions, because that insolvency, you're not being able to pay or get out of that debt, leads to secure transaction for who? For the international bankers. Because a pledge, if you make a pledge, or if you're a surety to someone, that means that you told them, you gave them your word that you're going to pay this debt. And if you can't pay that debt, guess what? You become a slave to that person, which is going to lead us to Proverbs 22:7. So you can grab that. I'm going to read this. It says, secure transaction. A secure transaction can refer to a legal agreement between a borrower and a lender, or to a payment that uses security measures to protect sensitive information. All right? And that's what they want you to pledge. That's what they want you to give collateral. Because if you can't pay, they take your goods. After a while, when you lose all your goods, what happens? You become the actual property of the person that's selling to you. Yep, and then he's in contract. That's right, brother. He's in contract is a contract that binds you, you know, by your signature. Brother says the weaker party has little to no chance to negotiate the terms. Adhesion contracts are also known as boilerplate. Yep, the boilerplate is something that's, they just have, you know, like a basic, you know, contract, and then they just keep printing it over and over again. Contracts or standard for contracts. That's right. It's too many precepts to post. But it reminds me in each. Well, yeah, I got that. I got that in the lineup, brother. Whatever y'all brothers put up, of course. It said the Egyptians had to give the cattle, land, yup, and lastly themselves to the Egyptian government. So it's nothing new. It's just something that's been done over the ages. You know, and these devils have, they remember, they know history, they know all these things. So they just pretty much incorporated it all in this time in a subtle way, because they are the serpent, in a subtle way to where it makes people think that they're free, all the while they're pretty much being cornered into a corner to become a slave. You know, how does the saying go? Something slave is the one that thinks that he's free, or something like that. You know, I forget how it's worded. But let's go to Proverbs 20:27, and we're gonna build from there. And like I said, we're gonna play that Lord's will. We're gonna play that video again. So go ahead, brother.
Okay, this is Proverbs 22:7, and it reads, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender."
Right. So the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. As we read about security transactions, they're not gonna want to lend to you unless they know that they can get something from you. You know, unless they know that you're able to pay. Unless they know that if you can't pay, you're going to be the price. You're going to be the collateral at the end of it all. Now, let's go from there. You know what? Let's go to Exodus 22. Exodus 22. Salakia.
I got it. 22.
Exodus 22 and 25. I'm going to read like a couple of verses.
This is Exodus 22 and 25. And it reads, right here. "If thou to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury."
Right, so if you're lending money to any of the people of the Most High, the reason why they come to you to borrow is because they don't have it.
Right.
You know, let me see, the brother put a quote by Johann von Goethe. The best slave is the one who thinks he is free. That's the idea. My man, John, I'm about to call you, you know, that's my man, Jonathan. You know, from the New York camp. Shalom, my brother, and shalom to, you know, any apostles, bishops, you know, elders, brothers out there, and a few sisters, shalom to you. So, if thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer. Now, what is an usurer? Someone who collects interest on a loan. When you look up the word usurer, right, it goes back to the Hebrew word nashah. Nashah, right? Nashah means to lend, be a creditor, to lend, creditor. So you're lending to them. So if you pretty much give something to a brother that's poor by you, let's say, or a sister that's poor by you, you're not supposed to be to them like a creditor that's going to exact, you know, an interest off of them, because they're coming to you because they're poor. They're coming to you because they're in need. And if you tack on more than what you're lending them, then guess what? They have to fight to try to pay you the money they owe you plus that interest. So you have them in constant, you know, slavery. And that's why the Lord said, don't do it. Because we were servants in Egypt, you know? So going back, and if you have anything, brother, you know, feel free to, you know, bring out any precepts you may have. So let's read on.
All right. This is Exodus 22 and 26, and it reads, "If thou at all take any neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down."
Right. So if you take the raiment to pledge, let's say he's poor, he doesn't have anything, and you lend him some money, right? And then you say, okay, I need some collateral. That's a pledge. So let's say he gives you his coat or whatever the case may be that he has that may be of value. By the end of the day, you're supposed to give that back to him.
Right.
Because that's his covering.
Yeah.
Now, when you look up this word pledge, right? The word pledge there is the word chabal. Chabal means to bind, see? And that bind is what? That's that collateral. Okay, I can lend you this because you have something of value that I can use. You know? I can lend you this because if you default on this payment, you become a slave under me.
Yeah.
Right? To pledge, to lay anything to pledge. And we read earlier the word pledge. In fact, let me bring this over here. A thing that is given as security for the fulfillment of a contract or the payment of a debt and is liable to forfeiture in the event of failure. And that's what these devils do. That's why Maya Angelou Barrow said it best. Give me control of the nation's money and I care not who writes the laws.
That's
Why?
right.
Because if you control the money, you control who puts the laws out there. And you know, if you have control of the money and you have a fiat system, right? And you know that this system is faulty, that can ensure the enslavement of the people that are using that system. You see? That's why it says the borrower is servant to the lender. Now, going back,
Okay.
let's read on.
Exodus 22 and 27. For this, Slakia, for that this is the covering only. It is his raiment for his skin. Wherein shall he sleep? And it shall come to pass when he crieth unto me that I will hear, for I am gracious.
Right, for that's his covering.
Right.
It is his raiment for his skin. Wherein shall he sleep? Right, because you're going to deprive him of that. So even when somebody works for you, you're supposed to pay him at the end of the day. If you take a pledge from somebody, you're supposed to give him that pledge back before the sun goes down. Because the Lord is just in everything that he does. That's beautiful. The brother got that scripture. We're going to go to that too. Nehemiah 5. That was on the list too. It says, and it shall come to pass when he crieth unto me that I will hear, for I am gracious. Right, so the Lord is going to deal with you because you're not dealing righteously with your brother. Now these devils, they know these laws. They know about the law of usury. They know about all these things. But you know what? They don't apply because they don't fear the Lord. You see? Now, you know what? Since the brother put that up, let's go to it. Go to Nehemiah 5. We're going to start at, brothers are bad.
Brothers is going in.
Yeah. Nehemiah 5 and 1. And then on the top it reads, on the caption, it says, usury abolished. And this was Nehemiah cursing out the leaders of Jake back then because they was doing wrong.
Yep.
Like Michael Jackson.
You're doing wrong.
That's it.
God, let's go. This is Nehemiah 5:1, and it reads, and there was a great cry of the people and of their wives against their brethren, the Jews.
Why? Because they were poor, they were widows, you know, they were strangers, they were, you know, sojourners, and what happened was, you know, Jake was taking, the leaders were taking advantage of that, you know, so they were putting hell on it, they were oppressing Jake back then, so they were crying to Nehemiah about it. Go ahead.
God. For there were they that said, we, our sons and our daughters, are many, therefore we take up corn for them, that we may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we have mortgaged our lands.
We have mortgaged our lands.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
God. Mortgaged our lands, vineyards, and houses, that we might buy corn, because of the dearth.
Right, so we mortgage our lands, vineyards, and houses that we might buy corn because of the dearth. Now the dearth is just an old English way of saying famine. So when we look up this word mortgaged, right, and mortgage is death.
Yep.
No, because in this society, this is not a righteous society. This society, once you buy a home, you're always chasing that. You never really get to pay it off in most cases. And if you do pay it off, guess what? There's still a land tax, you still got to pay property taxes, you got to pay, you know, all kind of taxes on that home. Also, the word there is IROB, which means mixed. But in this case, it says to pledge, exchange, mortgage, engage. So what did they do? They gave their homes, they gave their lands, everything as a collateral or a pledge to be able to eat because there was a famine going on. You know? You want to say something?
God, no.
All right, so let's go back.
God, this is Nehemiah 5 and 4. There was also that said, we have borrowed money from the king's tribute, and that upon our lands and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children are their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants.
Why? Because they had nothing else to pay with. Like the scripture we're gonna get in Genesis the 47th chapter. The brother put mortgage, conveyance of property or condition of as security for a loan or agreement, right? So it's a pledge. Like at the bottom right there it says dead pledge. You know, literally dead pledge. Or yep, dead pledge. Go ahead. You good.
That's just Nehemiah 5 and 6. And I was very angry. Or is it
go
like
back to 5.
it's like it. That's right.
Sorry.
Nehemiah 5 and 5. Yet now our flesh, it's like it. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants. And some of our daughters are brought unto bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them.
See?
For other men have our lands and vineyards.
Right, so they didn't have anything to redeem it because you did have the kinsman redeemer law. You did have a law of redemption. That's why when you read all throughout Deuteronomy 28 from the 16th verse down, those curses say no man's going to save you, no man's going to help you, no man's going to buy you, because there's not going to be anyone to be able to redeem us out of that condition, except for Yahushua. See?
I got something real quick.
Okay, bring it up.
This is just laying back up. He says Deuteronomy 28, and this goes under the curses. When you read Deuteronomy 28, it's a combination of all the captivities. All right, just so we're clear on that. Okay, and this is 28:48. It reads, "Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and want and need of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee." Now see, again, going back into what? Captivity. All right, because each, when you look at the nations, there are 18 nations that the Lord created, and we've been under captivity or subjection under all nations. All right, so these are some of the things that we had to go to. And so this is how you know, ultimately, here, Babylon the Great, aka America, we are in captivity still, right? Because we have to what? We have to go to Esau for want and needs of all things. Okay, we don't have sovereignty, we don't have our own land. This man has set this system up, ultimately through the strength and power of Yahweh Shah. All right, it has been set up to be our a punishment unto us. All right, so we don't own anything, we don't have anything, we won't be fruitful. Okay, and Baruch 3 and 8. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to grab this here really quick.
Okay, my brother, down.
God, because what the apostle said is very important, because Jake has to understand, for one, why we're brought here. Okay, and the Lord makes it very, very clear. This is Baruch 3 and 8. And it says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse." Now that's the same thing we just read Deuteronomy 28. And when you go to 28, they'll talk about a proverb and reproach wherever you go. Here's the point. "And to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our father, which departed from the Lord our power." Right? So we are here in this day, all right, we're subject to payments. All right, we are under subjection. You pay your car note, your light bill, electricity, food, all right, all these things. So what is that telling you ultimately? That ultimately, as the scripture says, surely the turning of your things upside down should be esteemed as a polished plate. Right? So the apostle brought out, this is a backwards system. Okay, everything here is ran backwards. This man has literally flipped things upside down, but it was literally for, again, our punishment. All right, because we went off ultimately. All right, so these are the things that we had to go through ultimately in order to, well, as the scripture says, you know, even with Yahweh Shah, the Lord. So I can't cut that phone off here.
What was that on that?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay, so let's go back to Nehemiah 5. And, okay, we'll just read the last part of it. "Neither is it in our power to redeem them, for other men have our lands and vineyards." Go ahead.
"And was very angry," and I was very angry when I heard their cry in these words. "Then I consulted with myself, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers, and said unto them, Ye exact usury, every one of his brother, and I set a great assembly against them.
So yeah, so Nehemiah was cursing them out.
Yep.
So Nehemiah, who was the governor, he was cursing Jake out. One time he was kicking their ass. Go ahead. Jake was wicked.
Right. It goes on to say, and I said unto them, we after our ability have redeemed our brethren, the Jews, which were sold unto the heathen, and will ye even sell your brethren, or shall they be sold unto us? Then held they their peace and found nothing to answer.
Right, because we had the ability to have servants and slaves, from the other nations. But amongst our nation, you could have indentured servants, but you were not supposed to rule over them with rigor. The servants that we did have in that fashion were the heathen. All right. So these devils, right? They're trying to use that, because they're saying that they're Jake, so that justifies them in doing what they do. But no, you're not the Israelites.
Right.
You are the Edomites, and you're not supposed to do what you're doing to us, although the Lord set you up to do that. So go ahead, bro.
God. There's also I said, and this is verse 9. Also I said, it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of our power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because of the reproach of the brethren, our enemies? I likewise,
Heathen.
Salakia, yes.
Reproach of the heathen.
Reproach of the heathen, our enemies, the water. I likewise, and my brethren and my servants, might exact of them money and corn. I pray you, let us leave off this usury.
Right. So he had the ability to do that, but he wouldn't do it. So he's telling, look, let's leave off of this usury, because the word that you use there is what? Exact. And we're going to pull that up too, but I'm going to look this up real quick. The word, once again, nashah. I forgot what other word came up with that. I don't know if that was pledge or one of them. It says that was usury. To lend, be a creditor, see? To lend. So that's a pledge. When you lend to someone, they have to pledge you that they're going to pay it back. And that pledge came along with collateral.
Right.
You had to have collateral, and that's what a pledge is. Now let's look up the word exact. We got the word pledge, and we could go back and forth between that. I'm going to show you the word exact. There's two definitions because, the English language is, like that. So exact, it says, we're going to read the second definition down here, or the verb. It says, right here, the verb. Demand and obtain something, especially a payment from someone. All right? So that's what to exact something is. So when somebody owed you something, right? Which, let's go to the law on that. Deuteronomy, I think it's, let me see if it's 24. Let me see if Deuteronomy 24. Just bear with me. Let me make sure that's the one. When somebody owed you something, you weren't supposed to go into their home and take their shit.
Right. That's right.
Now, Esau does that. They'll lend to the people, from the IRS, from the Federal Reserve, then the IRS collects, and if you can't pay, guess what? They come and take your home, or they take your goods, take whatever money you have, and in some cases put you in, lock you up. So they'll come up in your house, they'll kick your door down, and you could be sleeping, they'll pull your ass out, throw you in a paddy wagon, or take all your shit and just leave you there with your home bare. You see?
It's 10 verse. It's the 10th verse.
It's the 10th verse. Let me see.
I can read it if you like.
Yep, it's 10. Yep.
God, it says, this is Deuteronomy 24:10. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge.
See? Go ahead.
Thou shalt stand abroad, and the man whom thou did lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee.
Right, because they were supposed to be able to give it to you.
Right.
And if they didn't have it, guess what? You had to work with them. Go ahead.
And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge.
Right, and that's why you would have to give it back. If the man was poor, you couldn't keep his pledge.
Right.
You had to give it back to him. Let's see. Do we have? Yeah, read one more verse.
Okay. And it says, in any case, thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, and he may sleep in his own raiment and bless thee, and it shall be righteous unto thee before the Lord thy
power.
Right, and that's why it says that the cry of them has come up into the ear of the Lord of Sabaoth. You know, which is the Lord of
Armies.
the Lord of the armies, Khan. I was gonna say something else.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
like chocolate.
yeah.
God.
Matter of fact, let's go to that real quick. We're gonna go straight to the point, James 5. We may revisit James 5, but I just want to go straight to the actual verse that speaks on that, and that would be 4.
God, the water. This is James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields.
Right, so like the hire would be what? The wages.
That's right.
And the wages that they're paying in this society are not real wages because they have no substance. They're paying you with FRNs. And now it's to the point where most people don't even get a check anymore. They get direct deposit.
Yep.
So you don't even see any money transacting. All you see is just, computer, punching in computer keys and numbers. That's all you see.
Yep.
And this is exactly what they want. And that's why they set up that whole, direct deposit, thing. Because they're getting the people used to not having any cash on hand for the most part. And most people today in America don't have cash. They'll carry, some people have it, but most people have their credit cards, debit cards, your phones, you tap this and tap that and swipe this and swipe that, because they're getting you used to this new system that they've been planning all along, going all the way back to the early 1900s.
Yep. God, and if I may add, even
Yes,
when you go to the Constitution, I think it's Section 10, Article 1 talks about how the states, they basically cannot, their duty, right? You cannot use anything but gold or silver for tender as far as coins. But this man is what? He's giving us paper going back into what? The fiat currency.
Yeah.
Right? So just like the Apostle said, we don't even really see the money anymore. Everything is just digital. It's numbers now.
That's it.
All right, but this is all part of the plan to wean you gradually into the system. Okay.
Yeah, cash. You're right. Cash is really no different. It's paper, yeah, but it's not backed by anything.
Right.
So that's the point is that it's not backed by anything. So that's the hire or the wages that are being paid to the people.
Yep.
And the people are that money that they're giving them is not real money, and that's what's keeping them in debt, constantly chasing that debt. Because when you take that money, you're pretty much taking on the debt. Because the government prints it, or not the government, the Federal Reserve prints it, lends it, Stream is cut. No, we're still rolling.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, because this is still rolling here.
Yeah, I'm still rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the brother, maybe his stream went out. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we good. I just lost my train of thought. Still on, okay. So it says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, go ahead.
God, it says, Salaki here, that has reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord Sabaoth.
Right, so the ones that are laboring are crying to the Lord, and the Lord hears it.
Right.
Because what you're doing is you're making people's lives miserable.
Yep.
No, it's all good, my brother, it's all good. And you're making people's lives miserable. And that's, matter of fact, that brings to light another video I was listening to, right? I think it was a short. Let me see something. No, it's not. It wasn't a short. It was something else where this woman. Oh no, you know what it was? I think it was Richie from Boston, if I'm not mistaken. It was this woman that was saying that they want. I think it might have been Richie from Boston or something else. They want something along the lines that Jeff Bezos. He wants the people always in fear. Always scared, always terrified. And he said that because being scared, being terrified brings more productivity from the people.
That's true.
you know, and that's what he wants to keep them in. So in essence, that's what it is. He wants to keep them in captivity. It was a video clip that the brother Yashalom sent to me. Let's play this. Fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't own the rights to this video. I'm not making any money off this content. You know, this video is just used for educational purposes only. So listen up.
I was amazed to find that Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, says in his quarterly reports and loves to say, in many settings, that he tells all of the thousands of Amazon employees who work under him, he wants them all to wake up terrified every morning. And that's the word he uses, terrified. And to stay terrified all day, because that makes them productive.
Wow.
But most of these people are just getting by financially. He wants them to be afraid all the time so that he and the stockholders can get more stuff. And they already have so much stuff. You know, 50% of the
Never have
total
enough.
wealth of the world is owned by the top 1%.
Matter of fact, might as well get
I had that on deck.
Insane.
Damn cooked too.
Yep, so you got it. So
Yep.
they could never have enough. So let's pull that up. Let me grab it real quick.
Okay.
Okay, Habakkuk chapter 2. What verse is that?
5.
5, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home.
Yeah, that's the democracy, their philosophy,
That's right.
their mainly their democracy. Go ahead.
Mhm. Who
And he
enlarged?
doesn't keep at home.
Yeah,
He's trekking the globe,
Yep.
pretty much ripping people off.
right. And even with the military bases,
Yep.
you know, he's always over there. You know, 800 different military bases, I think in 80 or 70 different countries. Come on, man. Goes on to say, who enlarges his desire as hell, Revelation 6, and is as death and cannot be satisfied.
Mm.
But gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people.
Right, so pretty much he could not be satisfied.
Yep.
They have more than heart can wish. You even heard it say that.
Man.
They have all the stuff, you know, what more they want. They can never have enough.
Yep.
They cannot be satisfied. They're insatiable, you know?
Yep.
They're never satisfied, like Prince's mother.
She's never right?
All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go. Matter of fact, let's finish up in Nehemiah 5. Read the 11th verse.
Okay. Let me go back in here. Nehemiah 5 and 11. And it reads, restore, I pray you, to them even this day their lands, their vineyards, their olive yards, their houses, also the 100th part of the money and of the corn and wine and oil that ye exact of them.
Right, that you exacted from them. You are pretty much strong on them.
Right,
Pretty much because you knew that they didn't have another choice.
right.
So you pretty much put them in a corner, and then you said, look, you either pay me or you ain't gonna get no food.
Man.
And that's what these devils are using food as a weapon.
Yep.
To get people to comply with their new, so-called new world order.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And like he said, Jeff Bezos said, because what? Fear is a great motivator,
Mm-hmm.
right? Fear will motivate people to action, ultimately. Well, the scripture says that the Lord has not given us the spirit of fear.
That's right.
And there's a reason for that. What you got?
That's it. So let's go to Micah 2 and 1. Let's
Micah
read
2
a
and
couple of verses there, and then we're gonna jump to another. Try to get some of these, and then try to go back, listen to that video again, and then get a few more precepts, and we could close on that.
Got it. This is Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity
Mm-hmm.
and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Right, and that's what they do. They come up with different elaborate schemes,
Yep.
to trap the people up, mainly the Israelites.
Right.
Trap them up to get them in this web. And that's why when you look at the back of the dollar bill,
Mm-hmm.
you see a bunch of cobwebs all around the border of the dollar. Why is that? Because that's what actually they use to entrap the people, to get them, to be in debt, to get them to pledge their homes, their valuables, and eventually themselves.
Wow. Snare the fowler.
Yep, that's it.
Come on.
Go ahead.
God. Micah 2 and 2. And they covered fields.
Go ahead.
and they covet fields and take them by violence.
Right, because if you don't pay your debts, what happens? They come and remove you from your home.
Yep.
They take your shit.
Yep.
And if they don't remove you from the home, they come and take your stuff that you have that's worth anything to pay on that debt, on that loan. Go ahead.
Kind of, they take it by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
Right, they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
Yep.
So they'll strip you from your inheritances just so they can have it. You know, that's what they do to Gad.
Yep.
And they've been all over the world, all over the planet doing this to
Yep.
different people around the world.
Yep.
And then now they're acting like they're the victims.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that's something?
Ain't that about a bitch? Let's go from there to Job 24.
God.
You can start at the first verse.
Okay, this is
And
Job.
we're going to read Job 24, 1 to 4, and then we're going to skip.
God. Job 24:1. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they know that know him not see his days?
Right. Do they that know him not see his days? In other words, they're prospering. It just almost seems like the wicked are thriving, and the righteous that are trying to live the best life that they can in righteousness are suffering. The King Solomon said, you know, that he's seen, you know, a wicked man suffer or be blessed as if he was righteous, and a righteous man suffer as if he was wicked.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it seems like. But that's okay, because the Lord put them in slippery places. You got to understand, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Right.
The way he's hardened Esau's heart is by not judging him on the things that he's doing. That's why it says that thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself.
That's right.
But I will reprove thee, and I will set them in order before your eyes. But go ahead, bro.
So knowing you have to say, and I just want to land back out there.
Yes.
So you have to understand the contrast. As the scripture says, you have I known of all the families of the earth, so therefore I will punish you. That's talking about us. So Jacob always wondering, like, man, why we got it so bad? And these Edomites, rest these nations, is just so you understand who the Lord is dealing with. Okay, the Lord is dealing with us, so we don't get away with nothing. But He's allowing this man to continue his iniquities. What? Because ultimately, it's puffing him up. You know, and that's what He wants. The Lord ultimately wants to fight. You know.
Yeah.
He wants to fight it.
And it says that when He deals with us, He punishes us constantly.
Yeah.
But the nations, He don't deal with them. But he hits them at the end.
That's right.
And then He don't withdraw His hand from them. I'm just
That's
merely
right.
paraphrasing.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. That's what's coming.
All right.
This is Job 24 and 2. Some remove the landmarks. Some remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed thereof.
Right, and that's what, and they'll write legislation.
Yep.
The Indian Removal Act.
Yep.
You know, the Indian Protection, something like that, an act or something like that. You know, in California. You know, and they'll remove, you know, the lands that way. You know.
Goes on to say, they drive away the asses of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge.
Right, and the widow's ox would be in the ancient world you had oxes, but in modern terms that would be what you have for business. Anything that you have for business, they take away from you. So they strip you of everything, so you don't even have the ability to even, you know, have a way to make a decent living.
Right.
You know, they strip you of everything. Go ahead.
They
And if you want to say anything, you know.
God.
Go ahead.
They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together.
Right, and how they hide themselves? Because there's nothing they can do. You know, they're in jobs that they can't stand, they hate, but they know that they have to go to work because that's the only way that they have some kind of measly crumbs coming in.
Yep.
And that's what the scriptures speak about Lazarus in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. You know, he was fed from the crumbs of the table of the rich man. And that's exactly what's going on today. Because that's a parable. That wasn't an actual story of something that's going to happen in some place called hell. Right. No, that's talking about an actual thing, but as far as it happening on the earth here, the rich man being Esau, and the international banking families, and the Lazarus being Israel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's pretty much being fed from the crumbs. Even if you got decent job and decent money, there's still crumbs in comparison to the hundreds of trillions of dollars that these devils have. And then they'll give you the illusion that Elon Musk is the richest man on the planet. Fuck out of here, man. Elon Musk ain't got shit. Elon Musk, like Elder Patel said, that's a welfare case in comparison to these other banking families like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all of them. All right, so now let's go jump down to the 9th verse.
Okay.
We're gonna read down to the looks like the 13th verse.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. This is Job 24:9. They pluck the fatherless from the breasts and take a pledge of the poor.
Right, they take a pledge of the poor, and then guess what? They don't give it back.
Right.
Remember, you're supposed to give the pledge back at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give it back.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. They got the book, but they don't follow the book. Unto the wicked, the Lord said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shalt take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my word behind thee. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So you ain't gonna do right. You're the ultimate forever can't do right on the planet.
Right. You're the vessel of wrath fitted for destruction. Ultimately, that is your lot in this world. You know?
Yes, Lord.
Let's go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, and this is verse 10. They cause him to go naked without clothing.
Mm-hmm.
They take away the sheaf, the sheaf from the hungry.
Right. So you go hungry. You know you don't have enough money for clothing, and ultimately they take your shelter. That's why you have a lot of people. The homeless, population has increased crazy. Especially since 2020 to the present. Last 5 years, man, the homeless population has exploded in America. And different prominent cities that were well-to-do are riddled with homeless people.
Because we're at that time, as Klaus Schwab said, you'll own nothing and be happy. Right? Because ultimately, we never really own anything coming here. All right? You know, Jake say, I own my house paid for, my car's paid for. No, it's not. The property taxes if you want to.
There you go.
Okay, that house is going to be taken from you. So ultimately, Jake doesn't understand that the captivity or the bondage is different. It's not physical chains anymore.
Right.
All right, it's of the mind. It's finances. All right.
That's it. Spinal. Salaka.
Spinal. God, let's go.
Salaka. That dove that escaped. I tried to hold him back, but he escaped. Yeah.
Job 24:11, which make oil within their walls and shred their winepress and suffers thirst.
Mm-hmm.
Men groan from
go ahead.
Men groan from out of the city, and the souls of the wounded crieth out.
Right, and that's what we read in James the 5th chapter. And then that's why it says every hand of the wicked in Job 20 is going to be against him, which the word wicked there is aimal, which means the laborers. The ones that are toiling in your field, which you're treating like shit. Go ahead.
God goes on to say, yet Yahweh Shemiashad layeth not folly to them.
Right, because they haven't been judged yet. But guess what? Their judgment is fast approaching. Go ahead.
There are those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof. Wow. Nor abide in the paths thereof.
Brother said homelessness in the United States has seen a significant increase in recent years. In January 1st, 2023, a record high 653,104 people are experiencing homelessness, making a 12.1, is that 12.1?
Yep, 12.1
percent rise from the previous year. This upward trend continued into 2024, with the homeless population reaching 771,480, and it canceled out. So
I think it was 18% increase.
look at that. So and it's gonna keep going. All right. The
God, the murder arising with the light killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief.
Right, that's Esau. So now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of 2 Kings 4:1.
God.
And then like I said, I'm gonna we're gonna get 2 more scriptures. Then I'm gonna play that video again, and then we're gonna go. Then we're gonna play this video, and then try to get this other precept in, before we finish up. But go ahead.
God. This is 2 Kings 4:1. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen.
See? So pretty much here's a widow. Her husband is dead. Hey, Shalom. Here it is. She has a husband that's dead, right? She was in debt, right? And the creditors came to take unto them her 2 sons to be slaves. Why? Because she was in debt. Now, how did she get out that debt? She had to pay. And then Elisha told her, look, just borrow, I think this is the one that says borrow, pots and all this,
Yep, this is on the
and
third verse.
eventually keep on going.
Yep.
And then keep filling, keep filling the oil, keep filling the jar, and then use that to pay the debt. Which shows you that that's substance. He didn't say go and find some paper dollars
Yeah,
and pay the debt.
right,
He gave her something of substance.
right.
Oil is substance, wheat,
Yep.
all these different flour, right? Everything that has, like food, land, homes, shelter. Like today you have chariots, cars. Back then you had chariots. Horses. These are all things that have value to them, intrinsic value, which the dollar bill has no intrinsic value to it.
Right.
There's nothing there, to back it up, and that's why it's inflated like it is.
Right. That's why scriptures calls it uncertain riches.
Yep.
Because it fluctuates. It's up and down.
Beautiful. All right, now let's go from there to Matthew 18,
Okay.
and this is just to build on that.
Okay.
Matthew 18 and 23. We're just gonna. It's a parable that Yahushua spoke about. A servant that owed money to his Lord, and we're just gonna get the main points. Verse 23. Pretty much the moral of this story is, if you want somebody to forgive you, you gotta forgive them.
That's right.
But we're just gonna use it in the sense of being a creditor and a borrower relationship.
Got it.
Because that's how the Lord used it.
Beautiful.
Shalom.
Be safe, brother.
You going to camp?
Yeah,
All right.
the brother leave a little earlier.
Okay, so Lord's will we probably meet you brothers out there.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
That's bad. Lord, we'll catch y'all shortly.
All right, shalom. Go ahead.
Matthew 18 and 23. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants.
What time y'all leave from camp? 1:30?
We usually leave.
Close out.
Would you be able to drop Chapole off at home with that? Because I was going to cut it out a little earlier because I got to take the brother home.
I got it.
Okay, cool. We got the show about 2 o'clock. 1:50.
Beautiful.
Around there.
Perfect.
Got it. Shalom.
Shalom. Spirit be with you brothers out there.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Verse 24. And when he had begun to reckon, one of his, did you want to speak on 23?
Yeah. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king which would take account of his servants. In other words, they owed him.
Right.
So he wanted to find out, okay, what's going on, let's tally all this up. And that's pretty much what Esau's doing today with this, whole digital system.
Right.
He wants everything where it's in the grasp of his hand.
Right.
Because paper money and paper ledgers and all that is hard to get a hold of.
Yep.
But when you have everything centralized, on the computer, it's easy to find out because all you do is got to do is push of a button, you pull up everything.
That's right.
Okay, this person knows, this person knows, this person knows. If they don't pay, guess what? They're not going to be able to have these privileges.
Beautiful. And that's why this man, his usual order when he's setting up, there will be no exchange or transaction whatsoever. Right? Because he wants to keep account of every transaction or exchangement of finances in the earth. If you buy some sneakers from your brother, he gonna get some of that money. All right? That's the whole plan. Going back to what we talked about, how Tawaf said you will own nothing and be happy. Okay? This is what this is all about. All right, so it goes on to say, and when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. For as much as he had, for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and his children and all that he had, and payments to be made. Right, so in this situation, you know, here was a king here, a certain king, all right, and he took account of the servants like the apostle said. Okay, so there was here when it goes on, it says, and he began to reckon one he had brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. All right, so this was a servant who owed the king money. Okay, but as much as he had not to pay, his Lord, he commanded him to be sold. All right, his wife and his children and all that he had, the payments to be made. See, this is the spirit of Esau Edom. All right, because this is exactly what he will do. All right, there is no mercy with this man. Okay, all right, if you have something that is owed, he's not. There's no emotion involved.
Right.
I'll take your children. I'll take whatever it is, and that's just what's going to be that. Okay.
And that's why he wanted to set this whole system with the Federal Reserve System to be able to track everybody,
Exactly.
including the world,
Exactly.
because it's a trap.
Yep. It's a
You know?
net.
Yeah,
It's literally a net.
like the back of the dollar bill
Beautiful.
with the web cobwebs on it.
Beautiful.
What happens when different bugs, hit the cobweb? They can't get out. Shalom, bro. Shalom. They can't get out.
That's right.
But the spider, like Apostle Bar brought out, subtile is has an oil
Yep.
on the tips of it to where it can glide across
Beautiful.
and not get stuck.
Yep.
You see, and that's what this devil is doing. They're gliding across the
Yep.
web that they set up and not getting caught in it
Man.
because they're outside of that web.
Right.
But they want everybody else in the web.
Right.
So now let me play this real quick. Matter of fact, yeah. So you made the point on that.
Mhm.
You got it. Let me play this once more. And like I said, I don't own the content to this video. I'm not making any money off of this video. This is used for educational purposes only. Fair use, 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 fair use. Listen up.
Just read a quote from Edward Mendell House and what he had to say in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, president between 1913 and 1921, from the private papers of Woodrow Wilson. Quote, very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property in a national system designed to keep track of the people, and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer not being able to work and earn a living. They will be our chattel, and we will hold the security interest over them forever by operation of law merchant under the scheme of secured transactions. Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivered the bills of lading to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent forever to remain economic slaves through taxation secured by their pledges. They will be stripped of their rights.
Deuteronomy 15:1. Let's go there. Try to get through this because I got.
God. I got you. Deuteronomy 15:1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that letteth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release.
Got it.
Of the foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine, which thy brother thine hand shall release.
Right. So pretty much, the creditor was supposed to, release every 7 years, supposed to release the debt, the person that was in debt.
That's right.
And then you also had the year of Jubilee, which was every 50 years. All right. Now, jump from there. We're kind of, speeding it up a little bit. Jump to the 12th verse.
God. This is 12, and it says, and if thy brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee.
Right.
And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty.
Right, because you were supposed to supply him with what he needed, you know, to be able to start his own business, to,
Right.
you know, to be able to, you know, that way he won't be in the condition that he was in.
Right.
Go ahead.
It goes on to say, and when thou sendest him out free, I took that away. Okay, thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock.
Mhm. Sustain himself, his family, so on and so forth. Go ahead.
God.
Verse 15.
The water. It's verse 15, and it says, and thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy power redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today.
Right, and that's why the Lord redeemed us out of Egypt, and he gave us that in the law.
Yep.
You know, when you know somebody gets poor and they had to work for you, 6 years they work, the 7th year you let them go free.
Yep.
And when you let them go free, you're supposed to supply them with whatever they need from your cattle, from your floor, from whatever you have to them. You know, mainly those two things, because that was money back then anyway. You know, and that way they can start their own thing.
Yep.
And not be back in the same situation where they were at. Go ahead.
God, hold on. Sorry.
You looking for something?
Yeah, but I'm back here. Okay, here we are. This is 17. And thou
16,
shalt
16.
16, Salakia. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee, and thine house, because he is well with thee. Then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear until unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise.
Right, so pretty much, you know, that all was something that you would bore through a person's ear. It looks like an ice pick, you know, and then that would make them a servant forever. And this is the reason why Esau wants to push, you know, that MOTB, which is the micro C hip, through the delivery system into people's hands, because that would make them actual servants.
Yep.
And the majority of the world is going to be deceived into taking that MOTB. So that means that they're going to set up something along the lines, maybe they might set up something where if you want to be, you know, absolved of this debt, if you take this device, then you'll have a fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
And most people are going to be like with it.
Yep.
You know? But
Yep.
there's going to be others that are not. And the reason why is because some of those know about the scripture. You have the Israelites, of course. You have the, Bible thumping, Edomites, which a lot of them are Jakes, you know, in the Midwest, so on and so forth. They know about the MOTB.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't know, because most people are so engulfed in the system that Esau got put up and all in this technology that they won't have a problem with it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Now, when you look at this word all, the word is maratazai, which is a compound word. Ma is over from, and ratazai is to bore or to cut into.
Mm.
Right? It says all boring instrument. Okay?
Mm.
And all, okay, see right there, the word ratazai means to bore. Ma is of or from. So from boring or to bore, meaning to cut into. So that would make them what? A perpetual slave. And that's what the micro C hip is all about. Make the individual a perpetual slave. Now, it could be that these micro C hips, you know, are going to have an identification to where you have, okay, these particular slaves here belong to Master Rothschild or so on and so forth, you know? So they might have something embedded in there like that.
Yep.
To where they're gonna own, he owns this amount of slaves.
Yeah.
So and so owns that amount of slaves.
Right, no, it makes sense. They can do that with animals.
Yeah.
You know, you get a lost dog out there, they put chips in them, they can scan it, and they know where your owner is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, so it's the same thing.
Branding.
Yep. Continue.
No, that was it on that.
Okay.
That's
I got
the main
something.
point.
Unless you got something.
Bring it up.
God. And just to qualify this is going back in the ancient days of just talking about Antiochus, but as
What happened? I think it just. Oh no, it's good.
Okay.
It does that. sometimes.
God. But as the apostle brought out before we started this lesson, we were just talking about this is a system. You listen to the videos. This is something that's been a plan that's been going on for years. Okay, for ages and ages. All right. So this is Daniel 8:25, and through his policy also he caused the craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart. And here's the point, and by peace he shall destroy many. Right? Because we're in the time of what? Where the scripture talks about how the world is languishing, it's the beginning of sorrow. So people are looking for peace, answers. Okay, so he's going to come with this system, all right, which he's doing right now, Revelation 13:16, causing awe. So he's taking away certain things, teaching things, and he's pretty much funneling people into this pathway of destruction via the MOTB. All right, so
Right, and then you know, like the brother said, that scripture pertains specifically to Antiochus Epiphanes back
Right.
then. You know, but we use it today as a, you know, like the scripture said, the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So we're just using it as an example of something that happened in the past that's going to be used again today. And this was pushed through policy.
Yep.
You know, because remember, he wrote laws to where his whole kingdom should be one.
that's right.
And if people broke that law, they
That's
were
right.
put to death.
That's right.
And they want to bring what they call the no to the eyed laws.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I had to say it like that.
No, God, I get it. And he shall also stand against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken
Without hand.
Right.
So
just like
just-
Howard Shai, so like just like Howard Shai kicked his ass back then.
Woo, let's go.
Kick him ass again today.
That's
You
it.
got it.
No, that's it. That's pretty much what I was gonna say.
All right, so let's go to Genesis 47
47,
and
I think.
13.
Okay. This is Genesis
Try
47
to
and
finish
13.
that.
God. 47 and 13, and it reads, and there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph bought the money into the Pharaoh's house. And when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth.
Right, so all the money that they had,
Yep.
gone. The savings, the middle class, stripped everything. So they lost everything. Go ahead.
And Joseph said, give thee your cattle, and I'll give you for your cattle if money fail.
Right, so that was what? A pledge.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Wow. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle, and of the herbs and of the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year.
Go ahead.
And when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from thy Lord, how that our money is spent. My Lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught enough in the sight of thy Lord, but our bodies and our land.
Our bodies and our land. So they pledging their bodies and their lands, which is the collateral. And that's what made them servants and slaves. Same thing that was being done during the time of Nehemiah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, and that the land be not desolate.
Right. So pretty much, you know, and these devils know this. They know about these scriptures.
Right.
So this is a situation where, you know, you had the Egyptians, they were catching hell, there was a famine, they ran out of money, they had to sell their cattle, they ran out of cattle, then they had to sell their lands and
Yep.
sell themselves.
Yep.
So pretty much they became servants and slaves, and they know the best way to get people, you know, to comply is through hunger.
Yep.
You know, and that's exactly what they're using, money as a food as a weapon.
Beautiful.
You know?
Yep.
So I'm gonna play this video one more time. You know, fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't own the rights to this video. I don't own the content to this video. I'm not getting paid off of this video. I'm just using this for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Listen up.
Read a quote from Edward Mendell House and what he had to say in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, president between 1913 and 1921, from the private papers of Woodrow Wilson. Quote, very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property in a national system designed to keep track of the people and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer not being able to work and earn a living. They will be our chattel, and we will hold the security interest over them forever by operation of law merchant under the scheme of secured transactions. Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivered the bills of lading to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent, forever to remain economic slaves through taxation secured by their pledges. They will be stripped of their rights.
You will own nothing and be happy. So with that, we pray that your brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say, Shalom.
Shalom.